Welcome to the video. In this video we're going to talk about some of the things that you can do to improve your chances of getting your RC related problem fixed quickly. One of the things that's starting to happen on the channel is that as the channel gets bigger and I only have a finite amount of time to respond to requests for support and help, I can spend less time on each answer. And one of the hardest things for me to help with are those questions where it's a simple one or two sentences along the lines of, my RC quadcopter won't take off, what could it be? Typically what happens in that instance, I'll go and either suggest a couple of things that they can try and they'll come back and tell me that they've tried those already and it hasn't made any difference, and we'll go through that cycle 3 or 4 times before we get to a point where we can actually help them. Or the other thing that will happen, I'll go and ask them for what troubleshooting they've done and I'll never hear anything again. So this video is about giving you some do's and don'ts when you're coming to ask for help, not just on this YouTube channel, but on anywhere on the internet or with anybody that you're approaching to give you a hand to help you get the answers that you need faster to get you back in the air. Couple of do's first of all. I would recommend that you go back to the vendor or seller. The vendor and seller has a duty of care to support you with first line support. Now the support that you get varies greatly, and I understand that. So if we're buying from the Far East and we're getting things shipped from China, then the chance of us being able to talk to an RC specialist who can help us with a problem that we have with that component is probably pretty low. But that's part of the reason that we pay so little for getting those things from China. If you're building a first model, although it's tempting to buy all of your components from the Far East and save a bit of money, it's false economy if you get all those components and then you can't make them work and fit them together. I would recommend, if you're starting out, use your local hobby shops and local suppliers. They will be much more approachable and much more willing to help when you walk in the shop with something under your arm and pop it down on the bench and ask them for a bit of advice and help. That's part of the reason that they're a little bit more expensive. Their overheads are higher because they are supporting people like you with the problems. So do go back to the vendor and seller and ask them for help. Even if they are in the Far East, they might be able to link you to a more detailed manual or give you some additional support. Do some research. When you get the problem, don't immediately just jump and start sending emails to people asking them for help. Sit down and try and figure it out. There's an awful lot of information in these manuals that comes with this kit. Some of it is great, some of it is not fantastic, but I myself had an instance this very week where I got a piece of technology, I was struggling to set it up, really got myself in a bit of a pickle. After about 40 minutes, kind of gave up, made myself a cup of coffee, came back, and while I was sipping my coffee was flicking through the manual that I'd printed out and spotted the step that I'd missed. Felt really stupid. Fired the little netbook back up, plugged the flight control board back in, and had it all working within seconds. The manuals are written to help, and missing steps in the process is a great way to get yourself into trouble. Do search for videos on YouTube. There's an awful lot of information on YouTube. Some of it is better than others, but a lot of people are trying to document and show you how to resolve problems. So spend time searching on YouTube looking for information. Some of the videos might not have a voiceover because it might be somebody whose primary language isn't yours, but they can still show you things that might give you a clue as to what's going on. Sadly, a lot of people do post videos on YouTube that are just showing a problem and then never actually document the solution or amend the video to show how they actually sorted it out, and you do end up having to watch quite a few of those before you find the video that actually explains the answer. But time spent on YouTube can be very valuable indeed. Do use the forums. Places like RC groups are a wealth of information. The challenge with the forums is twofold. One, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack, and you have to be very diligent and careful about the search terms that you're using and put a lot of time and effort in to find the gold nugget of information that you need to sort your problem out. And the other challenge is there's people on there who are very derogatory for those asking questions where it's clear that they're newer to the hobby. And links back to posts from 3 years ago are common. That's why I personally don't spend a lot of time on places like RC groups. I tend to want to put the effort into producing a video because for me, I always found the videos on YouTube more easy. And that's something that everybody has a different style of learning. So for some, using the YouTube videos is an easier way to do it than reading the forum posts. For others, time spent in the forums will make much more sense than trying to watch someone blather on a YouTube video. The chances are that the problem that you're experiencing has already been seen and fixed by lots of other people. So all you're trying to do is find some of those other people that they can explain to you how they sorted it out, and they will participate in one of these areas. So be diligent and don't give up after 5 minutes of searching. Keep trying and ask the question. Do you use Google? Because not only is information stored in places like forums and the YouTube channels, but there's lots of people who have fantastic sites out there who document information on their own websites. And that's their own little business. It has adverts and things on there as well, but it's a great way to find it. Use Google with the right kind of search terms. Be canny and smart about the search terms that you're using. Use the name of the flight controller, the name of the firmware, the actual name of the piece of technology that you've got the problem with, the exact error message that you receive when you try and do it, to help you find those pages and get that advice. If you've tried all that and still haven't got an answer and feel you need to actually approach somebody to ask them for help, then do include as much detail as you can in your request. Talk to them about the stuff that you've done. Make it clear that you've actually done your homework, that you've tried to find the answer. That will give the person that you're asking a level of comfort that they're not dealing with a complete newbie whose first port of call when they had a problem was to post a comment on the forum or on a YouTube video. Explain what troubleshooting you've done. We all have spare parts in our bin, and if you haven't got spare parts, then I absolutely recommend you should at least have a spare motor, a spare speed controller, spare wires and cables, and maybe a spare receiver as well. When you have a problem, you can start swapping out the components to see whether or not swapping those components makes any difference to the problem. If it does, then that component has a part to play in the problem that you're seeing. Explaining that and going through that level of detail will not only help you figure it out before you need to ask for help, but also, again, demonstrate to the person that you're asking for help that you've covered the basics. And also it'll stop that person then suggesting to you loads of things that you've already tried. Do include links to videos and images. A picture is worth 1,000 words. A video, by that reckoning, is worth 1,000,000. Explain what you're trying to do and show it in the video. Be clear about the problem. Use close-ups so that they can actually see the wiring. Show the images on the PC to show the screen. Screen capture it if necessary. Make sure that you're getting as much information as you possibly can. I've just used this very method with a developer of some flight control software where I was having a problem, and what I did is I took a video, created it very much like the YouTube videos I do here, showed it on the bench working, did a screenshot and a little video on the PC itself showing all the problems and the error messages as they occurred. I sent that off as a package with a detail of what I tried, and 10 minutes later I had the answer saying, oh, I've spotted it, this is a problem that you've got. And what I'd done is I'd actually incorrectly configured a port in the software. Now, iteratively, if I've been going backwards and forwards, that could have taken me 4, 5, 6 days to get to the answer if the person that I've been asking for help hadn't given up on me by then. By including all the information up front in the first time we had the conversation, he knew that I'd done my homework, that I knew what I was talking about, that I'd done the basics, and that he could actually then assume a certain level of competence, assume a certain level of things have been tried, and then focus on the things that he needed to, and surprise, surprise, he spotted the answer. Last couple of things then before we finish the video. Don't ignore any of the above advice. If you have a problem, do your homework, spend time on the net, spend time on YouTube, spend time on the forums. If you are going to ask for help, make sure that you're documenting as much as you possibly can. I will be directing people to this video who come onto the channel from now on and ask one of those 1 or 2 sentence style requests. You know, I can't take my quadcopter off, what could it be? Or 2 of my motors aren't starting at the same time, how do I fix it? If you have been directed to this video as part of a response to a question like that, then this is why you've been sent here. You need to go away and go through these bits and pieces and then reply to the comment with as much detail as you can so I can help. So I know for some of you that was very much teaching you to suck eggs, and a lot of that is common sense, but for some of the newer pilots that are coming into the hobby, it's to help you get the support you need to get over the problems that you're experiencing to get you flying as quickly as you can. Thank you for taking the time to watch that video. There are lots of other videos on the channel and they're carefully ordered into playlists, so you may find that there are other videos on this same subject that you can go and watch. So I would recommend going into the playlist area of Painless 360 YouTube channel and looking around and seeing what there is. You never know what you might find. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and happy flying.